And it just goes on and on and on.
I was waiting for you to talk. I was just going to keep dancing.
No, I just like to watch you dance. It's a kink for me. On that note, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Camera Life podcast. This is the Random Photography Show, episode 89. 89, and that's the 16th of June, 2025. The Camera Life podcast, don't forget, is proudly brought to you by Lucky Straps, makers of fine leather camera straps from Bendigo, Victoria. Connect to your craft. Get yourself a Lucky Strap at luckystraps.com. That number again, luckystraps.com.
Come on down. We're having a crazy sale. It's crazy.
Yeah. Everything must go. Hey, Justin.
Hey.
Jim.
Good afternoon.
Hey,
good evening.
Hey, Justin.
What's up?
Hey, look.
Are you
little
real
journey.
laggy
Was
for
it
Greg? You're real laggy on my end, Justin.
I'm a bit
Yeah,
laggy.
you
Quite funny.
Yeah.
Quite funny while you're dancing.
It'll catch up. The internet will catch up.
Just move slowly.
The chat's going off already. Look, Tony's in here. Woohoo first. Get off my digital lawn.
Hey, Tony.
Paul says, g'day, gents.
Hey, Tony.
G'day, Paul. How's this? Nick Fletcher. Yo, listening to the potty while running. Are you being chased? Are you okay?
Yeah,
you need someone
where
to come and
running
get
from?
Keep us updated.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
How
let
many
us know.
Ks are you putting in?
Yeah.
If you keep running for the whole show, I don't know. I don't know what I can give you, but please do that.
Little clap.
We'll all clap. Philip Johnson, evening. Paul Henderson. Paul Henderson says, hi, folks. Looking forward to hearing more about the Fuji. It's been so long.
Sorry, everybody.
Well, and Grant Fleming, when you have a podcast at 7:30 and a boudoir shoot at 8. Good work, Jim.
Yeah.
Not many Ks, Nick Fletcher. Well, you do your best. Run hard. Run hard for us. We've got a big show tonight. There's a lot going on.
Huge show. We're going to get through all the topics too.
Yeah, we are tonight. This is the first time we're going to get through all the topics in quite a while. So we got a plan. We're going to stick to our plan. We're going to blast through some comments and some news and rumors. Then Greg's going to go first impressions on the X-E5. Have you actually officially got one in your hands there, Greg, or are you just tricking us? Is it a cardboard cutout? You actually do. Show us. Is it 3D? It's real.
Yeah,
it is real.
I can't.
Printed.
I thought you
Very
might have
good.
just printed one out and laminated it so you could pretend
There
that
you
you
go,
had one.
It's real.
Look.
All those naysayers, I doubt you've even touched the camera. There it is.
Yep. So we'll dig into that, and then I'll tell a little story about the dumbest thing that I've ever done in my photography career. If you can guess what it is, I'll give you a prize.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Can I guess?
No.
You cannot guess, Jim. You were there. And then finally, we are going to have a look at some photos from what Jim and I got up to on the weekend. I've called that segment OM3 Moto Madness. Should be fun.
Very cool.
Very cool.
All right, let's get into our first topic so that we can actually
Get through all of them. No, let's drag it out and not
Now, I
make it again.
just need to point out there's a lot of negative comments in the chat already
and
about
we
feedback.
appreciate them. Keep them coming, guys.
Look, I do like to be, kept honest and on an even playing field. But Justin and Jim, you can get your own cameras to review.
Hey, we will. So this is the thing: we have to give Fuji their dues. They're releasing cameras, so we're going to talk about them, and hopefully, Canon, Nikon, Sony will start releasing some cameras so we can talk about them too. And the FX2 didn't count from Sony; that was boring.
No.
So don't worry, we'll get off Fuji eventually. But we got to give Greg this one. He's been waiting for this camera for probably 3 years.
Yep, in about 3 years.
Tony with a big donation of $7.99. Thank you, Tony.
Is that our first donation? Or has Tony
No,
also
Elaine actually
donated
did
for-
one. Elaine
Elaine.
did one a few weeks ago. Thank you, Tony. It says
Thanks,
towards a
Tony.
light for Greg because apparently Castle spent all the light money on barbecues. I just reverse seared a rump cap, which I think they call it a panacha or something. And we just ate that about 10 minutes before the podcast, and it was delicious.
Wow. I don't know.
Some of the light money's already been spent on my new light.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jim's running a new light. He's testing it out. And if it works out, we're going to get one of them for Greg.
He's always been the favourite child.
Yeah. And for you, Justin.
Yeah, and maybe one for me. And then my light's going to get upcycled into our product photography setup at Lucky Straps. But you guys don't care about that because it's boring.
No.
Lucinda Goodwin in the house. Speaking of Lucinda, she says next
kiddo.
week all the Canon talk. Yes, definitely.
Maybe.
But I got a package today from Lucinda. I wonder if I should open it.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Live unboxing.
You guys talk about something while I try and find something to cut this over.
All right, we'll jump to the chat. So we've got RXA Photography. G'day. Long-time listener. First time joining on a chat.
Thanks for
Hey.
jumping
Thanks
on.
for joining.
Well, thanks for jumping in the chat.
Yeah, let us know. Where are you from?
Yeah, what are you doing here? Where are you from?
Wait,
What do you shoot with? Are you a Fuji shooter? You can tell us.
Nick Fletcher's got the right idea. How do you send cash?
Yeah.
How do you send cash? I think there's a button. You have to do it on your phone, I think, or on the desktop. Obviously, you can't do it on a TV. But there's a button there that says Super Chat, and then you can actually send cash and write stuff, and it gets highlighted for us. I think it's for the big shows that can't keep up with their chat. It's not really a problem for us at the moment. But we do appreciate the donation,
days.
Tony.
We
Thank you.
like the chat.
We will get Greg a light.
It's happening.
Tony says the little $ next to the send button, wherever that is. And Digifrog says Richard is a legend. Okay.
Oh,
Who's Richard? Is
now
that
we know.
RXA Photography?
RXA. Now we know.
Yeah.
Now we say, hey, Richard.
We're putting together the pieces.
Mhm.
So Justin seems to be having. I'm going to
Lucinda
buy you a pocket. I'm going to
packages
buy you a
very
pocket knife for your
well.
birthday.
I've actually thought about getting one of them.
Need a good Swiss Army knife.
What are you doing? Why is
I'm
it taking
opening
so
up
long?
Lucinda's care package. Check this out.
Ooh.
Oh, there's a little note. Justin, thanks so much for having me on the Camera Life podcast. A few postcard prints and a zine to add to your collection. And of course, some stickers and pics from your Canon pal, love Lucinda. Ha!
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Oh, this thing is cool. Look, stickers and stuff.
Aw.
Am I glitching on your end? Because
Yeah,
I'm
you're
glitching on my
glitching.
own end. What is happening here?
What is
didn't
your
set up
video
Starlink
set to
at
high
home.
quality?
I've got the fastest internet in Bendigo. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but you're shooting with a Canon.
This is so cool. There's all
What are
goodies
you
in there. I'm
shooting
just-
with, Greg? I heard it was a
What am I
webcam.
shooting? It is a web. No, it's just attached. It's just the MacBook. Hey,
That's cool.
nice.
So cool.
Jeez.
I'm not going to
Thanks,
open the
Nick.
second one. It's probably for Greg. We'll see. Oh, it does say Greg. Oh, there's names on them. That's lucky. I opened by
I see
random
what's happening.
chance. I opened the right one. None for you, Jim. Sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, Nick Fletcher just shouted. Well, you guys, some beers. I'll have a.
Thanks,
I'll
Nick.
have a
Coffee.
club soda. But thanks,
Nice
Nick.
coffee.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick. Oh,
Um,
that's crazy.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you,
great,
Nick.
mate. Internet is bad at the moment in Bendigo, says Grant. And Elena, whoa, Nick is the biggest sponsor this show has now. Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
we have
you basically-
sponsors.
Yeah.
You
The
basically
Camera
own
Live
this show now,
podcast
Nick.
brought to you by
Brought
Nick.
to you by Nick Fletcher.
Yeah.
It'll get you 20 episodes. Oh, dear.
very
I
good.
wonder, is my internet that bad? I'm just going to jump out and jump
You're
back
right
in.
now.
You
I'll
guys,
tell you when you're.
all right.
When
When you
we'll
get
just going.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See what happens.
All right. Let's get into our segment.
Yeah,
so that we-
I'll bring up a few very quick comments from the YouTubes, not the live chat, but the actual YouTubes. And then we'll get into the news. And then we'll get to the good stuff.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, let's see what we had this week.
You didn't
6
do
days
this now.
ago, 6 days ago, Carolina Hawkeye, a couple of comments in here from our pre-X-E5 launch show. And I don't know where this. So I got one of the R5 Mark II Lucky Straps at a Canon work event, but I shoot Lumix. Well, I'm sure we can find some Canon photographers that want them if you don't want them. Or you could switch. You could switch.
But that's not. That's the wrong display picture. Because
Why?
that's Rick Nelson in the picture.
Oh, yeah. Change the name? Carolina Hawkeye? I don't know.
Maybe.
Rick will figure it out.
Well, maybe actually, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the.
That's Rick.
profile
That's Rick
picture.
Nelson's picture. Yeah,
It is too, or someone's stolen it.
Oh,
Wow, what a
maybe.
mystery. But the other comment: why do they keep making APS-C L-mount lenses when there are no current crop-censored L-mount cameras? I don't even know that. Is there no?
Rick
current
says it's
crop?
my other account.
Sneaky.
we know it's you, Rick.
Two accounts, but it's not so sneaky if you use the same profile picture. It can't be a burner account. You're not fooling anyone, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To you, fella.
that's interesting. Are they not making any crop L-mount cameras? That is a good point.
I don't know at the moment.
Maybe there's some coming. Lucinda commented in here on the Craig Watson episode. We were talking about learning on film. I very much learnt on a film camera for my first 2 semesters. Didn't touch my digital until after that. Then when I was teaching, we went from where is the on button to, and everything in the manual. However, it was a fast track pace because the units have to be completed, but about a term worth of learning. We were chatting about just going back to basics and starting from digital at the start of any sort of photography course, and whether that still happens these days. I guess it does.
Yeah.
At Russell Burns 5386, I really enjoyed that, as Craig rarely talks about himself. Thanks for exposing this talented guy. That was on Craig Watson's episode, Craig Watto Watson.
Yeah.
Good episode.
It was a good chat, wasn't it?
Great chat.
Really, really interesting.
Yeah. Going very well, actually. The last week, our podcast has been flying. Biggest week we've
I've
had.
noticed. Are we putting out more reels and shorts and stuff? Because I feel like my socials are seeing more of them.
Yeah.
Which is lovely.
We're sending it. And we've picked up more subscribers than we ever have. And yeah, it's fine. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Another one on Watto's episode from @Niche3304. Watto is a fabulous guy and a really generous soul. And Craig replied, thanks, Phil. Much appreciated. David, our friend David Leparati, 1958. Another one on Craig's episode. I really enjoyed this chat. Brought back memories as an RAAF photographer processing 200 plus 10 by 10 inch prints at a time. Developer halfway up to my elbows. Stop bath and fixer clearing the sinuses. I really don't miss it, but it was a great time.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
RAAF aerial photographer.
Yes. Yeah. Got to get him on here.
Yeah, that's a very cool.
He's been he's been the one chiming in with all the information about infrared photography. So we definitely got to get him on to figure that out. Yeah. On our episode 86, where we were talking about whether it was going to be the X Pro 4 or the X-E5, what was coming from Fujifilm. This was last week before they released the X-E5. At Antonis Karakakis, I think. Mystery solved. It's an X-E5 with the price of an X Pro 4, which is
it's very true.
Kind of true. So,
well, it's the same at the moment on B&H. The X-E5 body only is the exact same price as an X-T5 body only.
Yeah. So that's what we
kind
kind of thought, and it makes it
that
really
happens
because the X-T5 has been out for 3 years.
Though. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that
also
X-T5
launched,
is yeah, and it's a couple of years old. It's come down in price over time.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get into that in more detail.
We'll talk about it. But it makes for a tricky choice, I think, for some people, depending on what whether they're just looking for the best specs or whether they're looking for a particular form factor. Yep. Finally, from Rodney Nicholson, Ripper Chat Guys, and that was back on episode 18, which was pre-Greg in the BGC times. But with a different Greg, master photographer Greg Sullivan. That was actually, that was a very good chat. So good job,
Cool.
Rodney, for going deep into the archive.
We're going to see Roger.
Rodney?
Rodney, sorry. What did I say, Roger? Rodney. I was thinking Roger Highland. Rodney on Thursday morning. He's joining us. Had a chat to him today. He's pretty keen, very excited.
This week.
He loves what we're doing. He said he's been watching some episodes and he thinks what we're doing is wonderful, promoting the craft in Australia. So thanks, mate.
And around the world. Got some international guests coming down the pipe.
We're beaming out beyond the world.
Yeah.
Really, we're heading for the stars. What else?
Sure.
Well, that's it. I mean, into the news and rumors. I'll check out what's happening with the chat while you. Or do you want me to bring up the news?
No, I'll check out the chat.
Are you doing your graphics? I feel like you've been.
Oh yeah, damn! I've missed two.
I said it before.
Oh man,
Yeah. You missed your noise.
Hang on.
I said it. I said you
Okay.
missed your noise.
I missed my noise. I forgot altogether. Okay, well, this was for the first one. Nope.
We are.
Right.
We'll get there.
And then
We'll get
news and rumors.
News and rumors isn't
you-
even in here. Oh man. Okay, we'll just skip that one.
So we're going straight to the next one.
We're falling apart. I've missed the slide. Oh my gosh. No, we'll do some news.
Sorry.
But
Yeah. Okay.
I will. Lucinda did say, I went and saw the dark room today. You guys should come down and check it out and then come visit my studio space across the hall. Definitely. And then we need to see all 145 of your cameras.
Yeah,
that is the plan. Good evening, Bruce. Good to see you.
Hey, Bruce.
Jim, why is that photo crooked in the background? And there's someone looking in your window. Paul says, I did a Canon collective wedding photo workshop with Greg Sullivan back in 2017. Perfect prep before shooting my one and only wedding. It's like that sometimes. You do one and you're like, that's enough. Grant says Jim's photo in the background looks crooked because he has his iPhone on 0.5x.
It's not an iPhone.
Has anyone noted that
angle lens?
Jim's using a Nikon? He doesn't have the black bars on the top and bottom of his screen anymore.
Oh, you fixed it.
Yeah. All we had to do was buy a $140 dongle adapter because Nikon's webcam software doesn't work properly.
Hang on. You use the same dongle adapter.
I do, because Canon's webcam software doesn't work properly. Oh, what is it with big camera brands and not being able to make decent apps or webcam software or anything? Anyway.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? That, we were talking to someone a few weeks ago who said, we asked about where they thought the future of cameras was heading, because we're seeing all these, half frame and the GFX 100 RF and the Sigma BF and, all these sort of inventive cameras. And I can't remember who it was, but they were saying screen technology has to evolve. If we can get it so good on phones, that camera screens should become better. Connectivity to apps should become better. I mean, the technology is already there. We've been using it forever.
Yeah.
They just need to outsource it to someone better, I think. Anyway,
yeah, it's dragging. From Facebook, Greg Stubbing says, Jim, is that the world's biggest adult sippy cup? What is he talking about? I must have missed it.
wow.
It is.
It's big. It's like 1.2 liters or something. It's great.
Greg, come over to
hydrated people.
Come over to YouTube, Greg. It's more fun. There's more people in the chat. It's a party. Tony says maybe Elena should be in charge of sounds. We probably should put her in charge of that stuff. She did say we did have to save our neighbours. They drove into the fence 2 doors down from us. Like 3 or 4 panels into a Colorbond fence, and the car was stuck on one of the fence posts, so I had to get it off. Yeah. That's what I was doing before the podcast.
Not into your fence?
No, not into our fence.
No, okay. Yeah.
Were they okay?
They were all fine. It was a low impact, just the car's a bit mangled and the fence is very mangled. So they were all fine. They were just a bit stressed out.
Expensive afternoon.
Yep. To the news.
The news. Where's
the sound?
No graphics.
Cool. No graphics. News. What's on the news today? Let me bring up some stuff. We'll just get through this quick because we've got a fair bit to cover. No, we'll come back to that. Let's have a look. Wanted have released a new version finally of their. Oh, hang on, I've got to add it, don't I? Wanted have added a new version of their Provoke. I think this is version 4. That is
the biggest. Like this is the one that you see everywhere on YouTube or like Instagrammers and stuff. Super popular bags.
Got one here.
Yes.
Got one. What's it like?
I love it. It's really good. And it's comfy.
Yeah. They're very,
really
very popular.
Comfy. Yeah, really well made, durable. It's a really nice camera bag.
There's a lot of neat little touches like the magnets in the handles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty well done.
Yeah.
And it's got the roll top,
one,
so you can stuff more into the top and just have like the roll top expanded, or you can roll it right down. It's got a side access panel for your to get to your primary camera and lens. I've got the 21 liter, which is perfect for my size kit. For you lads, if you were to get one, you would probably go up in size. What's the biggest size? It's like a 26 or something, or a 30.
They do a 32. They might even do a 40. I looked into them. They're not. They're a bit of a weird one for me. They're not for a big kit. They're probably not the best solution. Not ideal. Once you go heavy, I don't think the they look great, but the backpack straps and stuff like that, they're probably not the best for a really heavy kit. I did look into one for my lighter kit, but
why have they gone a Kickstarter for it though?
I think that's where they started on Kickstarter. Yeah, same as Peak Design. They do the same thing where they're like, "Hey, we could do this ourselves, but we have a history here." It's kind of fun,
and I think they do it to support their early backers.
Yeah,
anyone can pre-order a bag from anywhere, but this adds a kind of a different feel to it. It adds kind of a bit more of it's a bit more of a you're part of the team, you're part of the campaign to get it off the ground. I mean, not that, like Justin said, it's not that they need it; they could do it themselves, but
it also does probably help because if to do a big run, they're doing 6 colors. That's a massive outlay. Obviously, they're a big company, but it is still a big outlay to do a big run of new bags. It does help if you've got money in the bank rather than having to stock up and then take them out to sale. So it's a mutual benefit of like, let's go back to our roots and do a Kickstarter. They offer them at a discount, and then there's the other thing. Jay Collier in the Facebook chat says, "Get a Shimoda and your search is over for the best bag." I have had a good look at those because they do a roll top as well. I hate roll tops. They're so fiddly. I like a zip, like I want to be able to get in there. And I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, but the Shimodas have a zip. They've got a roll top, but they also have a zip that you can just access into the roll top area, which is kind of clever because you can still expand the bag to fit in like a big jacket or something. You're trying to puff it in, but you can also just zip it open. So anyway.
I broke it.
You broke it? Oh, I
broke
can fix
the screen.
I can fix it. He says, Jay says, the Explore V2 and the Action X50 for the win in Shimoda. Explore V2 is the zip top. Roger. Yeah. And Rick Nelson says, all my friends have been switching over to those bags. He's talking about the Wandered.
The Wandereds, yeah. They're good bags. I took it to beef up with me, and it was a perfect size for, having it with me during the day. I had my basic stuff. I had my everyday carry items. I found it comfortable. And it does come with, the big sort of, you can attach waist straps. They're kind of, they're padded and they kind of lift it up off your shoulders a bit because it sits on your hips. It comes with those too. I don't know if the new ones do, but the one I got did.
We need to get Jay back on a Monday night show, hopefully, if he's got time to come on one day, because he's a Canon user. And then I can actually talk. I'd love to, because he's got a lot of Canon RF gear and RF lenses and stuff, and some non-RF. So it would be fun to go through that. I'd like to have a bit of a round table on Canon lenses. I think that'd be good. Yeah,
we can organise that.
What's good, what's bad, what's not good. Lucinda, Canon. Glenn Lavender, good to see you, says, for travel, for me, there is no better bag than Mindshift Gear backlight series. You know what's better than the Mindshift backlight series? The Mindshift Backlight Elite.
Oh, is that new?
Lucky that didn't have anything in it.
No, I've had that for years. I actually rarely use it now because that is the backpack that I use if I need to carry a heavy kit full of gear because it's got it
fits a lot.
It's got big hip straps and all that sort of stuff and lots of extra everything. They're very, very well made, but overkill for most stuff. It doesn't come out very often anymore. Jay says, "Let's do it." All right, cool. We'll get it scheduled in. We'll do a Monday night Canon lens themed show. We won't invite Jim or Greg. Paul says yes, please, to the Canon roundtable. All right, we'll see if we can
We'll tee it
find
up.
anyone else that's done a heap of RF lens use, and we'll get them on here. And Paul also uses backlight 26. Had it for years. Yeah, Mindshift are awesome. It's a shame they get lost in the think tank world. They used to have their own website. Now they've rolled back into the think tank website.
Yeah.
And now they kind of, I think they get lost a little bit. No, you don't see them in a lot of camera stores or anything anymore.
Probably the price though, maybe as well.
They're pricey.
Yeah, like
Glenn's-
as in that camera stores you're going to
they're
usually
going to
stock.
Yeah, they're going to stock
Lower.
and if they're going to stock expensive bags, they're going to stock like the Wandered because they're very, very trendy colors. They're more useful around the city as like a laptop everyday bag and all that sort of stuff, as well as a camera bag.
Yeah.
And Glenn says the best thing about the backlight is I can change all my gear without ever taking off the backpack. Yeah, that's right. You can kind of swing it around and open up the back and get into it if you have to.
Yeah.
Anywho, enough about bags.
Cool.
Cool.
Next news item. Let's have a look. OM Systems, sorry, I keep going to say Olympus, but OM Systems are back at it again. Apparently the OM5 Mark II is due to be announced, revealed tomorrow, well, the 17th of June in the US at the Build Expo event, which is taking place in New York. I haven't had a chance to go through all the specifications, but according to the rumor site, they're saying that it seems to be pretty much on par with the current OM5, maybe just a few tweaks. So we'll have to wait and see what officially comes out from them.
Yeah.
Some good news for all of us in the camera world, because the more cameras that people have, the more that photography prospers. In the first quarter, is it quarter? No, first third, 4 months. The orange line in this chart is showing the 2025 camera shipment rates. And already we're seeing a huge increase in camera sale growth this year, which is great.
Cool. It's good.
Do you reckon that's all the X-half?
Yeah, it's all X-half.
Gotta be. That's crazy.
Here's one for Jim.
Oh, what do you got here?
So they've been talking about this rumored mysterious patent camera number for Nikon that's been floating around for a little while, and they believe, it's a rumor, keep in mind it's a rumor, that the Nikon ZF will come out in a fancy, funky silver retro and black style.
That does look very cool.
It does look very nice, doesn't it? I thought you'd like it, Jim.
Yeah, I'm not really into...
Would you ever get something like that, Jim? Or would you just want to use your Z8s?
Maybe something like that. That could be enough to tempt
Just
me.
an everyday carry camera?
Yeah, possibly. It's definitely, like, it looks cool enough that, like, was it the DF?
Yeah.
That was the
first digital. Yeah, and it was essentially like a D610, but in a retro body, kind of. I think, wasn't it?
I can't remember. Was it D750?
It wasn't quite the specs of a D750, I don't think, but it was somewhere more like closer to the D610 because it like burst rate and stuff like that. I don't think.
No, whereas this actually looks pretty cool.
This is an AI generated.
I know. Yeah. So if it looked like that, then maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. We'll see.
That's about it for the news for the moment. It's truly been dominated by Fujifilm at the moment. All of the news stuff that I'm seeing. Maybe that's just my
why.
Maybe that's just my rose-colored glasses. But
it might be your algorithm, Greg. Your algorithm.
But as you said last week, Justin, they are releasing.
They're doing the thing.
Cameras. They're putting out new brave ideas. So anyway, that's it for the news, folks.
Greg Stubbings, who made it from Facebook over to YouTube. Good work, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Join us.
Thanks, Greg.
Says the DF had the D600 focus system, very slow. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
It had that sort of nice sensor, nice image quality, but it was a little bit on the slow side.
It wasn't that exciting. It didn't
it wasn't
look
super
that exciting. Yeah, from memory.
Oh, the light's gone off. Oh, that's better. All right, that's it for the news and rumors. I really need it.
All right, I can actually do. We're going to go to the next segment.
Yay!
Greg's time to shine.
All right. So if you've been following along at home, I have spoken a little bit about Fujifilm recently because, as I said, they have been putting out some groundbreaking cameras. So they put out the GFX 100 RF and then, well, the X-half, half a camera. It's half impressive. Half an idea, perhaps. Anyway, for the longest time now, so 3 years, I've been shooting with the Fujifilm X-E4. It's Fujifilm's more compact, kind of when this one came out, it was bordering enthusiast level performance. But originally it was sort of slated as an entry level rangefinder style camera. So the X Pro series was the high pro grade one, I guess you'd call it. The X-E4 was the entry level. So this was the X-E4. As you can see, it's got a grip on it. This is the Fujifilm L plate with a grip. And this is the Fujifilm thumb rest, important for ergonomics, especially if you're going to pop bigger lenses on this. And this is the Fujifilm 27mm f2.8. Important that we remember that lens because we'll talk about its comparison with the new one that's coming out soon. So when they released this camera in 2022, 21, anyway, they also released this updated Pancake 27mm prime lens. They added an aperture ring, and they added weather sealing, but the camera's not weather sealed. So the other night, we jumped online and we watched the Fujifilm X Summit in Shanghai, where they announced the Fujifilm X-E5. Now, at the time, I didn't have the camera. I knew it was on the way, and I knew that I had information coming in from Fujifilm, but it was all a little bit delayed because they've kind of dropped this one really quickly because this isn't coming out until the end of August, from what I can see. At least that's in America. Not sure about Australia just yet. American products have been a bit funny because they're not being manufactured in China anymore. They're all moving to Japan because of tariffs. So Fujifilm have announced the X-E5, a significant step up from the X-E4. So the X-E4 had a 26 megapixel, X-Trans 4 sensor. This jumps to a 40.2 megapixel X-Trans 5 sensor. The X-E4 had an X processor 4. This jumps to the flagship X processor 5. And this also has 7 stops of IBIS, 5-axis sensor shift image stabilization.
Yeah, IBIS.
Yeah, IBIS. They finally put IBIS in the camera. And it's sleek. Like if you have a look at this top plate, top down, sorry everybody. That's machined from a single block of aluminium. That whole top plate section, you can see here you've got your exposure compensation, shutter speed. It's really minimal. And this here is the film simulation display, and it changes via this little hidden dial at the bottom. And everything just feels beautiful and responsive and tactile. There's clicks in everything.
I really like the fact that it's got 4 dials.
Yeah.
Oh, 5 if you count the film sim.
Well, it's got
and then
this.
So the aperture.
It's got a rear command dot. These are all customizable.
So I could have aperture on the lens. Shutter speed's got its own dial. Can I make the exposure compensation ISO?
I don't know. I haven't tried that yet. You can make one of these ISO.
You can make one of them ISO. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can even make one of them aperture. Or you can make one of them shutter speed. If you don't want to have to stop and do that, you can just quickly dial it.
I love that. For a compact camera, there's a lot of manual inputs on that. That's nice.
Yes. This is the back plate. Oh, look, there's me. This is the back plate. Again, minimal. There's no directional pad. It's just got this little focus and menu lever joystick here. It's a little toggle. You've only got a handful of buttons. Ergonomically, it's interesting. It's got this. You can see here this raised thumb bump, and you've got a small grip in the front. It's nothing compared to this one. Obviously, looking at that profile, you can see it's quite. But that's been added, so that's an added feature. But this one. And with a smaller lens, it's really comfortable. And I always wear a Lucky Straps wrist strap. So the camera's the strap is always anchored really closely to my wrist and in my hand at all times.
Mhm.
And the other thing I like is that it's got a proper flip up screen that I can shoot from the hip. I was really worried that this would come out with one of those flippy rotating video centric screens.
Yeah. Yep.
But when it's shut, it's really flush.
Yeah.
That is.
Like
That's
it's
neat.
really, the whole thing is very slick. In terms of connectors, it's got a mini HDMI, USB-C, and only one 3.5mm mic jack. You can do an audio jack off the USB-C, but you need a dongle. So if you want to monitor audio.
For monitoring audio, yeah.
For monitoring your audio, yeah. It's cropped, but it shoots 6.2K, 30p, or 4K or UHD 4K.
Do you know video specs wise what you can do uncropped? Like what does it shoot on the full sensor? 4K?
4K, yep.
Yeah. Does it do any high frame rate stuff at all?
No.
Like
it does 4K 60 and it will do a slow.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it does 4K 60 and it'll do a slow full
Like
HD 240 slow-mo.
Oh, perfect. And do you know if they're cropped or not cropped?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
Yep.
That's one of my big things. But yeah, if it does 1080 slow mo, that's perfectly usable for a camera of that size.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing they've added is this little toggle at the front. They put these toggles on the X Pro and the X100 and the GFX 100, and it's a little toggle. It's just another customizable option. You can do a short pull
and back.
Yeah, but it's got 4 functions. So you can do a short pull to the right, or you can hold it to the right for a second function, short pull to the left, or hold it to the left for a 4th function.
Yeah.
So there's customizable options everywhere.
Have you played around with that at all with it? Or does it come factory with any options on it? Like when you just get it out of the box, do they have it programmed to do something, that front little lever?
No, well, this one, someone had it before me.
So they're probably tweaked
and so
it.
at the moment, there's nothing. It's not set to anything, and I haven't changed it. And then the other thing that came out with it is this little pancake lens. This is a 23mm f2.8, so that's a 35mm full frame equivalent. Perfect street travel, just an EDC kind of experience. It's weather sealed. It has an aperture ring. It's got this cute little lens hood. Little flared lens hood on it. It probably really doesn't do much, but it looks cute. And it's 23mm thick. And then in comparison, this is the other pancake lens from Fujifilm. Sorry, guys, the lighting in here is terrible, but they're much the same.
We're working on it now. We're getting those donations rolling in there. We'll have a nice, big, beautiful light for Greg. We like the Hawaiian sun in there. Greg Carrick says that little flippy lever thing is set up to change focal length.
You can. So it has a teleconverter. That's right. It does have a teleconverter. Digital. So it crops, but it is a 40 megapixel sensor. So it does exactly what the Fujifilm X100 Mark VI does.
This is a great question from Ram Mac. Or Ramac, I still haven't decided. Any quick way to map the drive switch? Map to switch from photo to video faster without having to scroll down the menu.
I don't think so. There's no dedicated photo to video switch. I haven't tried to.
Like putting it on that little toggle thing.
That'd be perfect. Or like holding it would be the one, I reckon.
Yeah. The hold to
right.
switch modes and then have the tap to do something else.
So I don't know. Sorry, Ramac. I don't know yet. But I have been out with it. I have taken some shots, and if any of you joined us last week when the X Summit was on, and we actually talked about this camera and the release, and we got a bit frothy and excited about it. The very next morning, I pre-ordered one, paid in full. It's done. It's mine. It's on its way. Well, in 3 months. But I did go for all black with mine, as opposed to the silver black.
Yeah, I like all black.
Yeah, it's a bit more discreet. It doesn't draw as much attention, which is good both as a street photographer and a traveler, and just being street savvy and stuff. You don't want to flash your camera too much when you're walking through alleyways at night. I don't do that often. So yeah, that's the Fujifilm X-E5. I'm pretty excited. I've been waiting for a new camera for a while. Actually, Justin and I were only talking, I think, last week or the week before, very quickly, about what I was going to do, because I also need a webcam to up the ante on what we do here. And I think the X-E4 or the X-E5, sorry, is going to be a perfect little unit for that. It's compact. It's perfect for my street stuff. It's good just to have in my bag. It doesn't take up much space. It's not going to cause any strain on my neck, and I'll rock it with my, put it away, but I've got my nice little Camera Life Lucky Strap.
Will you sell the X-E4?
No.
You love it too much?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it. At the moment, I've only got the X-E4 and the X70, and having a second body, obviously anyone who does jobs like you guys will know that having a second body is sometimes important. I don't do many sort of high profile, high pressure jobs, but sometimes when I'm doing product photography, so if I do a Fujifilm review of a camera or a lens, sometimes it's nice to have a second camera that I can put the lens on and then take a photo with the other one. But also when we go out, Sash loves photography too. And she can rock the X-E4 while I work the good one, the new one. So I'm pretty excited. It was
That's awesome.
I was texting the boys on our group chat, the Camera Life group chat, saying I've done it, I've pre-ordered it, it's coming. I was pretty excited. First new camera in a while, so yeah. And it's also nice just being in a position to be able to having that good fortune to be able to actually buy a brand new camera is nice too. But it's been a long time coming.
Treat yourself.
Yeah. I work hard. Or do I hardly work? I can't remember. It's one of those two.
Working hard or hardly working.
Yeah.
What?
Yes,
anything
well,
else? You got some photos or?
Yes. Yeah, you got some photos.
Should we look at those?
Tony says Greg's ordering the black X-E5, black just like Jim's heart.
Ooh.
Brutal.
Wow.
Brutal. You got some little sample images for us?
I do have some little sample. Now, I went out with Sash and I went out for lunch, and I took the camera with me. We went to a nice Japanese restaurant in Smith Street, Collingwood. Now, I shot in RAW. Thankfully, I shot in RAW plus JPEG, and I usually do everything in Lightroom when it comes to post-production. But Lightroom hasn't received an update to accept this camera yet. It's too soon.
You don't know the hack? You don't know the hack that Jim and I used to use? DNG converter?
I wasn't there.
If you can use a DNG converter, if that sensor's already been out, like it's not a new novel sensor or anything like that.
Yeah, no,
and it's not a new it's not a new type of file. So back when we used to get Nikon files, and they were, what's Nikon use again? NEFs, one of the dumbest names. NEFs. So if it was just a NEF, when the D5 come out and they hadn't done anything yet with Adobe, we'd throw them all through DNG converter, open them up in Lightroom. Works straight.
I'll give that a shot.
And then just treat it exactly like a RAW.
Yeah. Just works.
Yeah,
I don't know why it
different.
works, but it just works.
All right, I'll give it a crack. But I did shoot with JPEG, which was nice because I always like to see what the JPEG images are like, and Fuji are good with their JPEGs because of the film sims. I did run these through Lightroom just to clean them up a bit because at the time I didn't know that the RAWs weren't going to work. Let me share the screen. Where are they?
I need some waiting music.
Sorry, guys. Don't do that. That's rude. So yeah, I was just sort of looking for light and composition as opposed to subjects, probably more than anything. I wanted to see what the dynamic range was like. I wanted to see how it handled shadows. This is all with the 23mm f2.82, not 2.82, 2.8. Also.
Now, did I read correctly? You didn't order that lens. Did we already talk about that?
No, I didn't.
No. So why not? You didn't like it?
Well, a couple of reasons. No, I like it, and I would have more lenses if I could afford it. I'm already spending, what did I drop? Just shy of $3,000. So the X-E5 currently is $1,700 US on B&H. And the XT, as we said, the XT5 is the same price. It's a similar situation here in Australia. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. Well, it is for me. And I don't go out and do jobs with my camera. My camera is more of a hobby enthusiast kind of thing. I do some work with it, but so I decided not to get the 23 millimeter. It was only an extra sort of 300-400, but I've already got a 23 f2, and I figured, and that's a compact prime. It's quite small itself, and I figured that I've already got a compact 23 f2 that's actually got better low light performance anyway. It's got that extra stop, and I've already got the 27 f2.8 pancake. I've pretty much already got it covered.
Yeah.
I just felt like I would be doubling up.
And the kit isn't a big enough saving that you're like, oh, I'd be crazy not to get this now. Like, obviously, it'll probably work out a little bit cheaper than getting them separately. But
yeah,
it's not
is. It's a couple of $100 cheaper. But again, I just don't. I might change it. I'll probably change my mind.
So Remax said, dang, you could have sold the lens and made a little dollars back. That's what I was thinking. Is it worth getting the new one and selling the old one?
Possibly, but I don't know. I don't really want to do it for the commerce. I either want to get it for me or I don't.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a fair point.
If you think about it that way, though, you can get it for yourself to see if you want it, so you don't have to wait. And then
yeah, but I've already got one.
Stock.
I can already tell you if I don't want it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It was not the job. Nice.
But it's so beautiful. It's lovely.
Talk into it.
But you know, this 27 mil pancake, it's only 4 mil off, and it's the same aperture, and it just feels like I've already got it.
Yeah.
You know, that's just.
And you're probably used to shooting that focal length anyway.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I mean, I love the 23 as well. But yeah, the 20, and it's it's such a compact, handy little compact lens and kit. So anyway,
yeah,
a little bit of street photography. Sorry, the zoom thing's a bit funny. Yeah, just playing around with colors, with light.
Do you gravitate towards one film sim, or were you playing around with the dial and mixing it up a bit?
I mostly shot in classic negative.
Yeah.
Or is it nostalgic neg? I think it's nostalgic. It's a little greener. There's a little more kind of green to the overall tone of it. It's interesting. Those OM3 product shots I did had that film simulation.
Right.
So it just softens the blacks a bit too. So yeah, just some street grabs. Really just playing around with, how sharp can I get it when people are moving towards me, and
what's the autofocus like?
It's super snappy
compared to your 4.
It's so much faster. It's amazing. Yeah, it's the same as the XM5. When I tested that, I was blown away by it. It's for a Fujifilm. It's super fast, super snappy.
It's a nice cock photo.
It is a good cock, isn't it? Colourful cock.
Proud.
This
For those of you listening on audio,
Greg has got his cock out.
You'll have to. You'll just have to imagine.
Yeah, Greg's cock. And then I had Japanese curry with karage chicken. By the way, just thought I'd drop that in there to make everyone hungry at this time of night.
Nice.
Yeah,
cool.
I was just mucking around with it.
Made you happy to shoot with it?
It really did. Yeah, there's something about, when you've been waiting for a new camera, and we talked about this previously. My X-E4 is a beautiful camera. Greg Carrick shoots with one. Shane Henderson loves his. There's a bunch of other Fuji photographers I know that really love the little system. But I mentioned to you the other day that I'm starting to feel like it's underperforming for me. It's not powerful enough. It's not. It struggles in low light. The focus is okay for what I do, and obviously the image quality is good, but it's hard to say no to 40 megapixels because it does give you a lot more flexibility. So
Ramax says, how's the IBIS? It exists. That's
it's
the
there.
first good thing.
Yeah, look, I got sharp images shooting in low light at low slow shutter speeds. Pretty happy with it. It wasn't like a deal breaker or a, you know, oh, I have to have it because it's got IBIS. I've shot without IBIS forever. I've never had a camera, never owned a camera with IBIS. I've tested plenty, but again, for the sort of stuff I do, it's very rare that I would use it. But you know, being in that restaurant and it was quite dim. And you know, walking around with it at night, also just sort of in the late afternoon, noticed that I was just able to see more of what was going on with the camera than my X-E4. So yes, very happy, very, very happy. But apparently, in America, it won't come out until the end of August. Let's see if Australia says when it's coming.
And you don't have a date yet.
They haven't given me a date yet. No, I'm just trying to find one.
Well, I'm sure as soon as you know, you'll let us know. Oh
yeah, we'll have a whole episode on it, Jim.
No, but at least like if you've got a date as well, you know.
Oh yeah,
let you know.
We look, and just for those of you that are already sick of the Fujifilm content, we will eventually We'll probably do a full episode once Greg's reviewed this camera and do like a full Greg's review of the X-E5 episode. So you can look forward to that if you're already over it. There's more to come.
Sorry, guys.
We'll space it out a little while. We won't do that next week. We'll give it some time. No. Robert Varner says, I also struggle in low light. You need to get IBIS installed, Robert. Yeah. They can probably do that these days. He also says, cock. Good evening, David Leparati. Good to see you.
Hey, David.
Thanks for joining us.
So that's been
Hey, just while you're about to say that, Greg, there's a lot of people joining us right now. It's busy.
There is.
It's busy out there.
It's really busy.
If this is the first time you're listening, give us a like and a subscribe, please, because we're flying at the moment, and I think YouTube's seeing that, and it's helping. Yeah. So they're showing us to more people, and then more people come and visit and hang out in the chat. So if it's your first time listening,
drop it. Yeah,
in the chat. So tell us where you're from. Actually, that's what we want to know.
Yeah, we'd love to know where everyone's from. Let us know what you're shooting with.
Oh no, the live call in. Damn it. I forgot. Paul, are you still here, Paul? We're going to do our first live call in ever with Paul.
I forgot about that too.
And I forgot about it. Gavin Clay joining us from Australia. Well, that narrows it down. We're also here, but thank you.
We're in Australia too.
Whereabouts? Roughly.
It's a small country. Small country just off the peninsula of New Zealand.
Paul's here.
You know.
Hey,
Paul's Paul.
Oh, did I even? Do I have your number, Paul? Do you have my number? I forgot.
He says he's ready.
He's been waiting for an hour now.
He has.
Thanks.
We're going to
see once again, Yelena has kept everything online.
I'm going to pretend this is my big F up, which it's actually not. But
it's bigger than this.
It could be. Oh, he's got.
He emailed you the number.
Just while Justin's fucking around with that, so that's my early impressions of the X-E5. It's my ideal camera, I have to say, and I'm really pleased that the Fujifilm put it out, and I found it, and I'm getting it, and I'm going to do a little dance about it when it comes in. So stay tuned for that.
I think it's cool, and I think that you've got the silver one now. I think the fact that you've bought a different color one, so when you get that one, it's a little bit different, will be nice too. It's not just like you're getting the same camera that you've already had for a little bit and then it's gone away. Like it'll feel like your one kind of thing. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how I'll go without the L plate with the grip. I don't think it'll be a problem. It's only like 400 and something grams. Like it's pretty small.
It's
pretty lightweight.
Do they make one for the new one, or will they?
Fujifilm don't, but I think I saw a couple of companies have already saying that they've put out like mock-ups.
Yeah,
3D renders of both
a
grip. One? Yeah, I probably will. I'll see how I go without it before I drop the cash. So that and the little thumb rest that slots. I haven't even tried this one. Let me do that. I'll try the Fujifilm thumb rest on the. No, it doesn't work. No, sorry, forget that. Forget that. Well, nothing to see here.
So, Robert Varner, I'm from New Jersey, USA, near New York City.
Hey, Robert.
And Bruce Moyle says Justin's actually the cock. Fair enough. Gavin Clay, the price of the X-E5 makes me scared of the possible future price of an X Pro 4. 100%.
Yeah, same.
We were talking about that the other night. It's going to be $5,000, maybe plus.
Can I just jump onto that topic just very quickly? All camera brands have recently. Just give me 1 minute. All camera brands have recently. Well, most camera brands have recently said they're putting prices up in various ways and means, and for different regions. But I think overall, it's clear that the cost of gear in the industry is going up.
Yeah.
Especially cameras and lenses. More cameras than anything. So I'm not surprised that it is what it is when you think about what they've managed to pack into it.
Yeah.
But yes, the X Pro, the next X Pro is going to be close to 5. I'm sure of it. Because they'll probably bring out special editions because people have been waiting for it as well. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
All right. Are we doing this? This isn't technically a live call-in because I'm actually dialing out, but this is the first ever live call to the Camera Life podcast, and this will become a live call-in show eventually. We're not ready yet, but we're going to get there. You're going to be able to, one day, you're going to be able to dial a number while we're live, and we're going to answer the phone and be like, hello, what's your question? It's going to be great. Okay, let's do this. So tell me if you can hear it.
Hello. Hey, Justin, how you going?
Good. Paul? Can you hear us?
I can hear you, and I've muted my laptop so I don't have feedback.
Perfect.
The reverb,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So you're looking for gloves because you're going somewhere cold. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm off to New Zealand next month, and I remember hearing about the Valorette brand a couple of years ago.
Right. Valorette have been around for ages, and we sell them in Australia. And there's a heap of different types you can get, and they're all designed. They're for photographers' gloves, so you can flip the fingers back. That's the big benefit. That's why they're different to regular gloves. How cold do you think you're? Like, where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah, I had a good look at the website, and I saw the different ratings against the gloves there. I'm off to New Zealand, and it's going to be mainly what I would say are day trips, or no overnight hikes or anything like that, but out in the above the snow line in the really cold stuff, but generally just day trips. So I'm sort of thinking that kind of is equivalent to the coldest you'll get in Australia.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not going to be Arctic level kind of stuff. So the other thing is, do you tend to get cold hands, or do you get cold easily, or not so much? What's your sort of normal winter temp like?
Yeah, not too bad. I've got reasonable resilience, but I do remember shooting once in minus 23 degrees C, and that certainly hurt. That was at Bryce Canyon in winter. But that's pretty exceptional. Mostly it's just going to be around Australia in like night astro photography in winter, that type of thing. So I was looking at the Markov Pro V3 as probably a starting point, I reckon.
That's their like middle of the road, midwinter all round glove. It's the most popular one we sell, and it's the most popular one they sell for that reason. It's sort of a good mix between being warm but also not too bulky. So that's definitely kind of the go-to.
Yeah, because I can actually overheat sometimes as well. I've had sort of ski glove type of things, and they just get too much sometimes.
Yeah, sweaty hands. I get sweaty hands in my snowboard gloves as well. It's basically that. So the main thing is, how cold do you need to go? I'm a big fan of glove liners. I use glove liners a lot, but glove liners with these would probably be overkill for most of the stuff that you're doing. But the other thing is they might actually be pretty, like, they might be enough for a lot of the time. Like, they sell these Power Stretch Pro glove liners, which are touchscreen enabled. Greg's just scrolling around on the website at the moment, I think, or someone is. But yeah, basically they're very thin, and I actually find them often enough for like hiking and stuff like that to keep my hands warm, and I can shoot with them on. But some people, you can't fold the fingers back on those. You can only fold the fingers back on the full gloves.
The liners definitely look like a good option. And I was looking at the sizing as well because I'm falling in between the large and the XL. So I guess if I go the XL, I've got the option of putting the liners in if it's going to be really cold.
That's the thing. The only risk with that is, and look, you can always get them, and we can switch the size over if it ends up being the wrong one. The problem with going between sizes, they usually say to go up because you don't want it to feel too small. But if you end up, if they're too big, when you flip the fingers back, you don't have a lot of finger kind of poking out of that fingertip hole.
Oh, yeah.
So that is the only risk. But that's just one of those things that you kind of take your best guess at it, and then we would just switch them over if they don't fit. But yeah, if you do go an XL instead of an L, you would fit the glove liners under. And if you did glove liners with the Markovs, you'd be fine in almost the sort of the worst temps until you get into those really, really cold conditions.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty good for Australian conditions and sort of New Zealand up in the hills during the daytime. I'm not going to be out hiking out in the backcountry or anything.
Yeah, I think that's what I'd go for because otherwise there's ones that are they're warmer but they'll be bulkier, and then the ones under that, which are actually the ones Greg uses, they're called the Dukes. They're like a leather. He's holding them up there. They're like thinner and they're more of an around town. And again, they'd probably be fine for New Zealand in most conditions, but they're less weather resistant and less. They're definitely not as warm either. So they might be a little bit too.
These are good for bright, cold mornings.
Yeah.
Just that sort of start of the day where you
Victorian
don't want to
winter.
lose sensation. Yeah.
Justin, just in case you don't know.
I think I reckon those V3s could be worth a go.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's probably it. Hang on, Jim's trying to relay some info, but it's probably not going back this way.
Oh, so Paul can't hear us. He can't hear
not
Greg
at the
or
moment.
myself. No. So just there's probably not much us saying too much.
Okay, he didn't worry about it. Yeah, I don't know. Does that help?
Yeah, that's awesome. No, thanks very much for that. And is it code Jim? Is that the right code?
No, it's Greg, you bastard.
Well, it doesn't.
not
The
on
problem
gloves.
is it doesn't normally work on gloves because the gloves we set it up for all of our Lucky stuff, everything that we make, and our hoodies and all that sort of stuff. But hang on.
I'm only stirring.
No. We'll make sure we set up. Let's do a little glove special. Let me see what
There's
we've
a few
got
people in
going
the chat
on.
saying, "Ooh, I need gloves."
Okay, well, maybe we'll do a little glove special right now. Let's do create discount. Amount off. It won't be set up yet. It'll be set up in 5 minutes. We're going to set up a code. Thanks, Paul. So anyone else that uses it, use the code Thanks, Paul. And it'll give you a discount off not just the Lucky stuff, but it'll have the gloves included as well.
Awesome, cool. Thanks very much.
Awesome.
I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, hang on. Apparently, Elena's already set one up. Code live calling. Can we do 2-word codes? I didn't. Oh, live call in. Oh gosh, now we're getting. Hang on.
What is
now
it?
I'm confused.
No, she hasn't. Okay, let's do thanks, Paul. All one word. Thanks, Paul. All one word. All right. Thanks for being our first live call in.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Hey, when you put a receipt in the box, can you just put a paper receipt in there for $29.95? Okay, that'll help a lot. Thanks.
Okay, done.
Is it handwritten?
Yeah. See ya. Thanks. We did it. The first ever live call.
Yeah.
There you go.
All
Hey,
All
we
right.
need the cheer sound or the hoots.
Oh, hang on. I got
Oh,
there.
yeah.
We really need a sound person.
All right, hang on. Let me set this up. Thanks, Paul. Percentage. How much should we make this? 1%? No.
I don't know.
No limits, no nothing. Done. Save. If you know, you know.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Cool. What did I miss? Anything else? That was fun.
No, I think we're up to the next one now. Yeah, so we'll have to, I guess, work that out, how we can get Paul or whoever's calling in to be able to hear Greg and I also.
I can do it through the Rodecaster, but I have to get a phone, or I have to give my number out on the internet. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. What's that? Yeah, I have to get like a second SIM on my phone or something like that. I got to figure that out. But then I can Bluetooth to the Rodecaster, and I can hear it. We can all hear it, and we can control the volume and stuff. I'm working on that.
Okay.
This is a good idea. From RXA Photography, charge an extra $10 to include a receipt for the price that you told your wife. Yeah, it's a good upsell.
Good idea.
Extra $10 will give you whatever receipt you want. I think that's probably, it's not, Lucky's not in a position for that. That's more of a camera store kind of thing. You know, when you order your new Leica Q3 and you pay extra $100 to get a receipt that says it was only $800.
Shame on you all.
Shame.
Shame.
Robert Varner says it's almost summer where I am, don't need gloves. No, but in winter, I bet it gets cold up there in New York in winter.
And the discount code might not be around then.
Time to buy gloves and another strap. Don't tell my wife. Or we could tell her they were cheap.
They will be cheap because you've got the discount code.
Yeah, that's right. Code Greg.
Not for gloves.
Oh. All right. Shall we look at Justin's big F up?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Has anyone guessed what it is?
Yeah, does anyone know what Justin's
why
big
is Justin the worst photographer ever, apparently, according to himself?
I am. I think I am. All right, hang on. I better change the thing. Do the stuff. I'm all over the place tonight.
So Lucinda said, no memory card.
I wish. I wish, Lucinda.
Did you break the lone camera?
This is my biggest mistake as a photographer since I started.
Hey, Bruce, take
and
that
he
back.
bought Fujifilm.
He bought a Fujifilm.
It's not, look, Bruce, it's not that big of a mistake.
And this is coming from someone.
I was waiting.
My biggest mistake as a photographer, and remember, I jumped into a pool with my R5 Mark II with a non-weather sealed lens underwater. Auto ISO.
No, much bigger than that.
So I had a paid shoot for a client on Thursday in between two podcasts and packing to go away for the weekend and do a shoot. Some of that shoot we'll show you in the next segment. So there was a bit going on in my brain. And Rick Nelson, small JPEGs. I wish, Rick. That would have been amazing.
That's savable.
That's savable. That's fine. So it's a very regular client that I work with all the time. My favorite client, equal favorite client. It's top two. And they needed the video files. I shot hybrid. They needed the video files uploaded ASAP. And then the photos they didn't need till Monday. And I got home from the shoot, was getting ready for the podcast and eating dinner because I got home from the shoot at 5:30. The podcast was at 6:45.
Yep.
And that's the window that I had to eat dinner, finish packing for the next day, and get the footage off my R5 Mark II and upload it into Dropbox. So I did that. And then the next morning, I packed up, put my stuff in the car. I think we were aiming to leave at 7:30 or 7:45 or something, meet Jim at about 8:15, formatted my cards, and then about 20 minutes into the drive, I realized that I hadn't taken the stills off the cards. I'd only taken the video off the card. So I formatted a job that had not been transferred onto my computer yet, a job they needed on Monday, and I was going to be away for the weekend. Oh no. This is the first time ever in my career as a photographer that I've had to consider like recovery software or whatever, like trying to get stuff off a card. So I panicked, and then I sat there for 2 hours for the rest of the drive, panicking and just coming to terms with what had happened. When we pulled over at one point, I told Jim, I filmed that. I should have put it on this. I should have played it for you. And then as soon as, okay. Yeah. Those can be recovered. It's probably recoverable. Have you guys ever done it? So I did it. We got to the place, to Baruga where we were for the weekend. No service, basically. Enough service to maybe, eke out an SMS or something. So I set Starlink up. Thanks, Elon. And immediately started Googling how to recover formatted cards. Obviously, I've had my entire photography career. Everyone's always said, as long as you don't shoot over the top of it, you can get all that back. So, of course, I was fairly confident I would be able to do this. I downloaded some software called Disk Drill because you get free recovery software with every really expensive SanDisk card that you buy, but you throw those packets out. So I don't have, so here we go. Nick Fletcher, using the software that came free with the card. Yeah, how do you get that? I don't keep any of the packets. They're gone.
They get thrown
I don't know.
away.
I was thinking that. I was like, I've seen that and I've never, anyway. Oh, Lucinda. So Lucinda says, I do love Disk Drill. I was trying to figure out first, is Disk Drill a scam? It's not a scam, but it's expensive. Bruce Moore also says Disk Drill is good. Okay, that's good. So I didn't get tricked because it did seem to work well, but it's expensive. You download it and then you can actually see what it's going to recover first and then you pay if you want to. So the free version, the free version works. Basically it says, hey, the free version works to check everything. But if you want to actually recover it, you've got to pay for it. Lucinda's saying it's good for hard drives also. Okay, so it works for everything. And it looked very powerful. It had files on there. Like it had some of Jim's NEF files on there from when he borrowed that card, which he can't even remember when he borrowed that card or shot to it. Like it. Wow. So what I don't understand though is it only found, it didn't find all my files, and then of the ones that it found, and then I paid to recover them, $186 for the software, which I would have gladly paid more than that if it got all the files. But it only got, it could only find, I'm estimating about 80% of the files, and then only about 80% of those actually worked. The rest were corrupted, and they said they were there, and they said they had megabytes, but they would not open in Lightroom or do anything. So,
did it find like a chunk, or did it find like these 10, skipped 10, found a few more?
It was, I wish I should have kept. I checked the pattern. It was quite interesting. So the good thing was there was a few chunks towards the start and the end of the shoot that were completely missing, batches of maybe 10 to 15 photos. And then the rest of them were fairly randomly spread out. And because I was shooting sports, I was shooting burst, it would actually, I was able to recover a fair bit of the shoot, but there were a few sections. So there were a few shots that we did where I lost every photo in that sequence. They just weren't there. But most of the other ones, and because I'm such an epic photographer, everything I shoot's in focus. So even if we're only getting bits and pieces here or there, most of them were amazing. So it was fine. Nick Fletcher says, yes, that was my hit rate. Okay, so that's good to know. So basically you can get 80% or so back. I didn't know whether I just had bad luck there, because I thought since it was literally like the day before and I didn't formatted everything, I was like, I'll be able to, I didn't shoot over anything. I didn't take a single shot. I thought I would have the best chance of recovering all of them. But anyway, so that's my story. I'm an idiot. I broke all of my rules, which are always ingest the stuff onto the computer straight after the shoot. I stopped. So because I've been shooting hybrid and I've been shooting smaller jobs and I've got massive 512 gigabyte cards now, I stopped formatting my cards after every shoot. That was one of my rules. You do the shoot, you ingest the card onto your computer, you format the card every time. You never let shoots bank up on your card. Yeah. Once you've backed it up into 3 locations, forget about all that stuff. When I say transfer it on my computer, I mean transfer it, back it up, do the whole process. So I got lazy. I kept letting shoots bank up on my giant cards. And then I did this, and this that because the R5 now has, and this might be a thing with higher level video or more video centric cameras and hybrid cameras, there's separate folders for video files and stills files. That was the other thing. And I just grabbed all the files out of the video folder and transferred them across, and then I just was doing other stuff, and it was just dumb. So anyway, don't break your own rules. Stick to your process. Don't get lazy. I fucked up.
So do you think that'll change? Do you think that will be enough of a scare to to kind of push you back into that predictable pathway, that safety?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I won't be doing that again. It's the first time it's ever happened. Never happening again. Dumb. Dumb. Rick Nelson says, consider your photos culled. Yeah, you can look on the bright side. I think it did save me a little bit of time.
Silver lining.
Bruce
Sure.
Moyle says, the big cards can undo you big time. This is true. They've been a lifesaver on many shoots, though, because I could have run out on smaller cards, and I hate changing cards on shoots because that's where things can go wrong. You change a card, you lose a card. I also have been shooting one card at the moment because I'm shooting hybrid, and the slower SD cards struggle with the video codecs that I'm using sometimes. So I was just like, well, I'm just going to shoot to one card. And that really bugs me.
When you're shooting video, only write to one card, or does it write to two?
It can write to two, but it has issues with higher frame rate and like higher quality codecs. And to keep things simple, I kept getting messages like, oh, that won't work, this will work, or whatever. And I was like, I've never had an issue with the CF Express cards. Also, I'm not shooting, like if I was shooting wedding stills, I would obviously shoot to two cards. All of the jobs that I shoot normally, as much as it would be an absolute disaster for the client, I think they could be redone.
Yeah.
You know, at my cost, and I could cover their costs or whatever and redo it. It's not a wedding, but still, it's
No, because I think that my camera only shoots to one. Like it only shoots to the XQD card or the CF Express. It doesn't shoot to the SD. If you've got two cards in, sorry. Like you can set which one your main card is, and then it'll only write video files to one. It'll still write the photos to two.
Yeah. But only video to one. Yeah.
Is it just too much heavy lifting? The process.
I think so. And I've almost come undone from the similar thing to Justin, is that I always ingest off my SD cards because they plug directly into my laptop.
Yeah.
Whereas the XQD card, I need a reader. I don't normally use it in that process. So
yeah, it's
easy to do.
So, question for you, Justin: is it something that you would tell the client happened, or do you think that you've
100%.
saved yourself? Yeah.
No. So this was my process. The first thing, I didn't tell the client straight away. I downloaded Distill and did my process. I did that on the Friday before we started doing anything up there. So I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. Because if I can get all the files back, there's no point telling him.
Yeah.
Did that. Figured out how many I got back. Messaged the client, said, hey, I've lost this much of our shoot. They're a regular client. They understand that I'm a moron. No, they don't. But basically, no, I was able to explain like what had happened, and I said I didn't blame it on. I didn't say, oh, something must have gone wrong with the card, or I don't know. I said I fucked up. I'll tell you the story next time we shoot, if there is a next time. And I've made a mistake, but I've been able to recover about 80% of our shoot. I'll send you. I said I'll send you through. Unedited proofs of. I didn't send them everything. I went through and selected like I normally would. I culled it down, and then I sent them unedited proofs immediately and said, "This is what we have. Are you happy with that, or do you want to try and squeeze a reshoot in before your deadline?" And then I obviously said, and if we need to do a reshoot, I'll do whatever that we need to do to cover any of those costs that you have to incur as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, I definitely let them know. Yeah, you can't. I would 100% would not have, unless I recovered every shot except for like one and didn't think there was anything missing. Essentially, and even then, I would have ended up telling them next time we shot. I would have said,
especially that client as well.
Yeah. We've got a strong relationship.
I mean, it's good that it's pushed you back into a mindset of, I've got to be more careful. I've got to stick to my rules, because when you stray from your lane, you're going to start having problems. but it is nice to know that you can recover. I've never had to. I have wiped my card like that, formatting it accidentally, but I don't shoot big client work. I've just lost a bunch of photos and hated myself for it for a day, and oh well, no loss.
It's good to reinforce those rules, I think. And good to do it. It's good that you got most of it back, that it worked out, but reinforces why you have the rules in the first place.
Jim knows, because we come up with these systems together over time.
I remember you guys telling me about them.
It was we had a very rigid system, and obviously that comes with weddings. And the problem is, I have been shooting weddings, and it's just slowly, it's one little bit at a time. It's like, I won't worry about that. This is okay, that's okay. And then too many of those things lead to a point where you make a dumb mistake.
Nick Fletcher asked, did you think about frame grabs from video?
I did, Nick, but we're shooting action, and I shoot video, if we're shooting what we in the industry call regmo. That's not really a term. If we're shooting normal speed, it's at a 50th. And if we're shooting slow-mo, it's at 200th, maybe 400th. And so I didn't look. That would have been my backup plan if I had to. But I didn't look, but I assume everything would have too much motion blur at those frame rates to be a crisp image. But that would have been an option. Yeah, it was shooting mountain biking. So it's things happen and moving fast. So few other, what do we got? Lucinda said, I have so many cards so that they sit in my drawers until I run out and go again. I have shoots from 4 months ago. I shoot and transfer my CF Express and then format that, keep the SD. And that's kind of what Jim and I used to do. Split the cards. We would have one that went back into a working card, one that stayed as a backup until all of our other backups were made. And then once all of our other backups are verified, that one can go back into being a working card as well, which was very helpful if you're shooting double headers or whatever. So how do you do a double header now, Jimbo?
So before the shoot, I'll make sure all my cards are clear so that I'm good to go, and then back up the first wedding like normal. I'll try and make a second backup that night, and then I'll keep a spare card. So I'll have one on the computer, one on an external, and maybe even onto the RAID if I've got time, depending on how big the files are and everything. Yeah. Sometimes backups and stuff goes wrong or it's late, so it just depends. But I'll always keep an SD, like a set of SD cards. Yeah. And then
if in doubt, it was quick and dirty was get it onto your laptop, onto an SSD, and keep the second card. So that's three. You've got 3 copies.
Yeah, 3 copies.
That's the minimum.
More than what you started with. So
exactly. Yeah. Sorry, and then you were going to say, and then so you would keep one card of that first wedding aside.
Yes, and then I'll format the CF XQD cards.
Yeah, so the cheap cards you keep aside, and then the dear card becomes your main card again for the next day, formatted, and off you go.
Yeah, they're not real cheap though; they're pretty expensive though.
No, it's basically per gigabyte. They're the same now. It's cheaper to buy CF Express than SDs that are fast. I kind of wish these had dual CF Express cards in them. I'd have duals in there.
Yep.
Rick Nelson says, I use different cards each job. It's a good idea. Ramak says, I wish that I was that disciplined. I transfer all my cards to a drawer and they sit there for months.
It's a storage device.
It's a storage device. Yeah. Put them in my hard drive. Nick Fletcher says, annoys the hell out of me that cameras slow down if you write to 2 cards. Yes, that is frustrating. Let's go 2 fast card slots on pro cameras, please. Nev Clark says, we will always mess up at something at some stage, but it's making it, again, like you said, I think he's being nice to me. Thanks, Nev. That's right. I tried my best. What else have we got? Bruce Moyle, I had a similar thing happen on a big video job, but no recovery. The phone call was horrible. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that would have been horrible. Because, that's the thing with video files. I'm imagining it would be a lot easier for them to corrupt because there's so much more data going on. so much bigger files. Ramak says, with the price of cameras these days, I wish they came with internal storage like the Sigma, but with a card slot as well. That would also be cool, like an internal storage and then like an awesome card slot.
Don't Hasselblads have internal? Some of the top end models, I think they have like a terabyte.
Yeah,
some of them.
Yeah, I'd feel like it'd be like your big cards, Justin, and then you'd get lazy, get full, and then you can't take it out. And I feel like that would be potentially more hassle.
That's true,
because it's not removable.
More hassle, Blad. Sorry. Bruce says the media died on a shoot and it was rental gear specified by the client and there wasn't any extra media in the state. Ugh. That all just sounds painful. Glad my shoot was hundreds of dollars, not whatever your shoot was worth. Paul, I splashed out on 1 terabyte CF card for the R5 and treat it like an internal drive. It never leaves the camera. Use the smaller 128 and 256 SD cards as working cards, only formatting the CF Express when full. That's kind of how I was working, except I wasn't using the second card slot. I guess the only downside to that is if you think it's got enough room and then it gets full. And doesn't.
That's like, do you format that when it's at 800 gig? When it's at 80% capacity, you go, okay, that's my maximum. I have to clear it now because I've got to have at least 25%,
Western Digital used to have a battery-powered 2 or 4 terabyte disk drive with an SD slot. Just put the SD in it would automatically back up. Not sold anymore. There was a few of those. There was another brand name that wasn't a big name. It was like a startup kind of thing. That was Narbox. Narbox was popular for a while. They were SSDs, I think, not spinny disks. And there was a few of those kind of solutions, and they all seem to have disappeared because it seems like people weren't as fond of them.
People used to do it though, like it was sort of in the wedding industry.
I think then cards got way bigger.
Yeah.
Because a lot of video guys used to have to swap cards out all day and back things up and stuff. And then all of a sudden you can buy a 512 gig card and shoot the full day on one card. Or you can buy 2 terabyte cards. You can definitely get 1 terabyte cards. I might get one. See if I get into more trouble. LTK Photo. Thanks for joining us. Says, I'm finally getting my act together. File management. That's cool.
Yeah,
it can be tough. It's a constant battle.
You just got to set rules and stick to them. That's
we used to have to write our rules down, didn't we? Because we'd come back to them and hang on. You still got it? You got your new ones?
Yeah, I still use it.
Look at this. This is what we do.
Right.
That's cool.
So up to 2 years and then after 2 years.
Nice.
Because with weddings, our plan, no one promises you keep files forever, but our plan was that at a minimum we wanted to have JPEGs as long as we can.
Yeah. I still refer to every wedding all the time. Just to be like, oh, what do we do? Yep, I can delete those ones. Like it's been long enough, or for RAWs and stuff for long-term storage off certain hard drives. So
Greg Carrick says, write your rules down. Yes.
Yeah, and just keep them close by so you can refer to them because you do forget or
Greg Carrick says, you doofus. RXA Photography says, the cost of CF Express cards means I'm cycling through faster than I'd like. I'd love to have a drawer full of them. Yeah, they're not cheap. The the slower Angel Bird ones are actually pretty affordable. I can't remember what this series is called. There's 2 series. There's a 512 that's like the same cost as their fast 128s. They're the best value CF Express cards I think that I've come across.
Weren't they also bringing out a stainless steel or a metallic alloy one, Angel Bird?
I'd like that.
They're bringing out tough cards.
Sounds so nice.
Fancy.
Yeah, I want one. Send me one, Angel Bird. I'll test it for you and see if we can recover files after I accidentally format it. DJI drones. Oh, they've got internal. Yes, DJI drones. The better Cine drones have internal stuff. Rick Nelson says, I wish something like a Narbox would come out again for back-to-back jobs. Yeah, I guess the other thing with the Narbox is they probably got hit with constant, like Sony has the CF Express B. There was the XQD card, CF Express Type A card. So a lot of the faster video shooters were constantly changing card formats depending on which brand you're using. So they probably ran into that problem too, where cards keep changing, and so they couldn't keep up their hardware with changing cards. You can store some footage on the controller with DJI drones. Yes, you can. Not a lot though, and then it has to transfer, and it would be low res, I think.
Angelbird have, sorry, just to jump in, they've got these Pro SE CF Express B. Is that what you use?
CF Express B. Yes.
Yep.
I always get it confused.
It doesn't say what they're made of, but they go up to 4 terabyte. 4 terabyte is probably about $1,000 US, I reckon. 1,200 US, and you can have your name or business name engraved on the card.
Interesting. I like it.
Cool.
Yeah, they're shock proof, they're freeze dust, X-ray proof, magnet proof.
Order me one.
Kit and caboodle. Yeah, sure. Just give me your credit card details. Just send me a photo of it.
Are they moron proof? Would a message have come up and said, "Don't do that. Don't do that"?
Let me just hit the check compatibility button. No, sorry, Justin, you can't have one.
That just electrocutes you.
Yeah, yeah. Bom bom.
I think this is supposed to be Logan Carla says call in topic of media and storage. How is everyone handling their archiving process and backup? Maybe we should make that a whole show at some point. This has kind of been that show, but maybe we should do a show with an actual.
We've done it, and we've spoken about it before, but we could definitely refresh it. And
it'd be interesting to refresh it with some guests that aren't just, because we've got a kind of a wedding photographer kind of workflow, and then I've got a moron workflow. But it would be interesting to see what some other, like what's Bruce do with sort of high-end video, or what do people do maybe if it's not as critical as a wedding, family shoots or whatever.
All right, I'll tee that up.
Cool. Well, let's get through
the next segment. Or you got to go to bed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, let's get through a show and actually get through
all right.
We can do
finally, last couple of comments before we get into the final segment. Greg Stubbings says, Nikon had a storage device called the Cool Walker. Worked well for backup, 30 gigabyte hard disk. Laughable now. Cool Walker. Surely they didn't call it that.
Hang on, I have to find this.
Goodwin
Lucinda
feels like
says,
it came at the age of the Walkman.
I'm nerdy file man.
They did.
Paul, follow-up glove question. If your size is between large and XL, would the large size Pro liners go with the XL gloves? Depends how in between, and whether you like your glove liners to be tight or like a little bit loosey-goosey. That's a tough question. It depends how in between you are. I would probably lean towards going the XL glove liners if you are above a large. Tough question. We'll swap them over for you if they're no good, so don't stress too much.
Yeah.
And finally, Greg Carrick, I store all my photos on an external hard drive until it crashes and I lose everything.
Yeah, that sounds like Greg.
Yeah,
sounds like Greg.
Greg would do.
Nev
Don't
Clark.
do what Greg does.
Don't do what Greg Clark does. Greg Carrick does.
Greg Carrick.
Nev Clark wants to learn about the NAS system, but explain it simply. We'll do a show on that. Because there's a whole thing. The difference between NASs. What's the other one? Direct storage, and then RAID is the same but different.
We'll let Justin explain it, and then I'll just explain what I know, which is the basic explanation of it.
Can't wait. Stay tuned for that one, folks. Just before we quickly jump onto the last topic, I just want to remind everyone that's watching or listening along, welcome to the Camera Life podcast. This is our random photography show. We air this particular show every Monday evening, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Yes, that's right. We are Australian. And then we also have a Thursday morning podcast where we interview a photographer. We talk shop with them. We unravel their whole story, their inspirations, their projects, their works, their milestones, and what they're currently working towards. So make sure that that's at 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time every Thursday. So please make sure you like this episode in particular. It helps us out a huge amount. subscribe and make sure you hit the bell icon, the little notification, so that you get notified when we have shows coming up. Because every now and then we'll drop a random one, like we did last week on Thursday night with the launch of the Fujifilm X-E5. Just needed to get that plug for Fujifilm in because I hadn't said it for some time.
I did notice you starting to twitch, Greg.
Oh, I was twitching. I was looking at my cameras.
Gotta say Fuji.
Gotta say it, Jim.
All right. I was distracted during that spiel, Greg. Did you mention the fact that we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well for any of you that want to listen to the back catalogue? You already did that.
Oh, of course I did. No, I didn't. We are also,
cool.
you can actually watch the back catalogue. You can watch them all on YouTube, but we're also on Spotify and all the audio podcasty places.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
So, yeah.
And Justin isn't allowed to access those, so we can't format them.
You know what's funny? It is actually currently my job to save and archive all of these shows off the system that we use before the storage fills up. So that's actually something that I could get wrong.
We might have to increase Yelena's responsibilities a little.
I think she would do a much better job. All right. The next segment is also not in our... Oh, man, what is happening? Look, we'll just do the sound.
You turn 40 and it's all slipping.
They're all... this is so
annoying. Everything, you're formatting jobs, you haven't got this set up properly.
Where's
can't
all
even do the
this
graphics.
stuff?
You know?
So are you
can't even
what are you deleting them out of the background?
We don't know. I don't know how to access the background.
Yeah.
Well,
that would be funny, though, if we could. Can we access that?
Poor tradesperson doesn't blame their tools. We're the tools.
You probably
Jim,
could access it, Jim.
Is
Anyway,
that the pencil?
so look, there we go. I got it. We're there.
Oh, we're there.
I just re-uploaded it. Okay. OM3 Moto Madness. So yes, after this absolute debacle of my big fuck up, Jim and I went away for the weekend. We were taking some shots for some friends that are competing. They're racing at the Hatta Desert Race in about a month, but they wanted some promo shots done at a private property up in Baruga in the middle of nowhere.
How far away is Baruga from, say, Victoria?
2 hours and 40 minutes?
Well,
from
Victoria.
From Victoria,
10 minutes.
20 minutes.
Okay, sorry, that was a dumb question.
Yeah.
I was trying to create some point of reference for our overseas viewers.
From where we live in central Victoria, it's about 2 3/4 hours.
Yeah, and this private property is specifically for training, racing, dirt bikes, and just all around crazy stuff. 300 acres of sand tracks, and the fastest riders literally in the world have trained there, and they can get around the track in about 15 minutes. Is the fastest they can get around one lap. So
wow.
It's pretty cool.
Literally, the current Australian #1 was there training.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was also training.
And the guy that won Dakar, Daniel Chucky Sanders, has trained there many times. He wasn't there this weekend because he's not racing Hatta.
Jim, did you say you were also in training? That was prior to...
I was riding.
He did ride.
On the weekend?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Good on you. That's awesome.
I
was not doing 15-minute laps.
Every time we went out, I'd be like, all right, if you're not back in about half an hour, I'll come looking for you in the buggy. Oh, dear. Cool. Do you want it? So, Jim, basically, Jim and I were up there shooting. We did have some work to do, but they're friends of ours, so it was also pretty chill. But Jim was shooting with his Nikon gear. I took my Canon gear up, but I also took the OM3 up to see whether the OM3 could keep up with action and what that tiny little micro mini sensor is like in low light. I wanted to do some astro, but we were clouded over. So no astro. Jim, have you got some photos you want to?
Yeah, did you want to do it? Is it?
Oh, you want me to bring him up?
I can bring him up.
I thought they might be a bit slow.
I've got them ready.
Yeah. Okay, Greg's got them ready.
Greg's got them ready.
Thanks, Greg.
That's all right. We'll just... Oh, there we go.
Can you make that window narrower? So, drag the sides in, because then it'll go up a bit more in our windowy slot thing. Yeah. Oh, other way. There.
Yeah.
Done. perfect, because that'll fit both directions.
And then
hopefully.
hit the little square above your mouse. Yep. Oh no.
Made it worse.
Whatever that did was worse. I don't know what that did.
Hit it again.
Anyway.
Hit that little thing again. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. Geez, we're good on this show. Do you want to talk us through your photos, Jim? We'll just blast through them.
So we'd done some photos. This was actually a friend's son, and they were burning off. And we said, "Hey, do you want to do a mono through the burning grass?" And he's like,
Yeah,
You
look,
sent-
look.
You
Nick
sent
Fletcher.
someone's kid into a burning field for a photo.
Well,
Nick Fletcher
to
says,
be
"Love
fair,
it,
he-
backlit
he's-
dust." That's not dust, Nick.
that's not dust.
That's
That's
burning
smoke.
smoke.
Yeah, those are real flames. That's a real kid.
It is a real
His
kid.
dad actually said, "Do it," and then he said, "Do it again," because he didn't do it.
This
Go to
was
the next
in
photo, Greg.
But I'm not
controlled
fired,
conditions.
Dad. But Dad,
Yeah,
please.
it's we had
professional control conditions.
Character
What were you shooting with for most of the weekend, Jimbo?
I shot a lot. Well, with my Z8s, and I shot mostly on the 105, a little bit of the 50. I'll get to in the next photo, and then also my new 14 to 30.
How'd you find that?
Good. Yeah, it was great. It did everything it needed to do. But F4 sucks.
Mhm.
So the photo previous, there was a heap of fog that we had both days until about lunchtime.
It did look cool.
So it did look cool. We had to set up for 8 rider photos. So they had to get headshots, and so it was like a very varying headshots, all with their bikes. So we sort of set them up. And Justin and I, talking about rules, we have a rule with like group photos or family photos, stuff like that from weddings. One, always shoot into the sun, because even if it's an overcast day, often the sun will pop out midway through your photo session and ruin it. So we always shoot first for the light, second, then find the best background that the light is in. So we were actually going to shoot these the other way because the light at this time was perfect. And then literally by the time the first rider got shot, the light had changed, the fog had moved, and we would have been stuffed. So
yeah, it was perfect when we first started, but if we'd stuck with that, we would have been screwed.
because it took an hour because some of the riders took, but anyway, there was varying headshots in this one location.
Nick says that's my rule too. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were just like lazy photographers or not, but it's we've come unstuck too many times when we're like, oh, it'll look better, and then
And
the
then it
sun pops
changes.
out, everyone's squinting, we've got to try and hustle to move a new spot. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So these are boring, those headshots, but
That was
quick
just-
team
yeah.
photo, these are Justin's favorite. He really enjoys those.
I hate organising teams. I hate organising vehicles in shots. I hate having to line people up and then deciding where each person should stand, and then having other people being like, no, maybe what if that one stood over that way a little bit more? And I was like, so Jim did this. Jim's very good at that stuff. He's patient.
And then this is the after. So that was the morning. And then we sort of had the middle of the day off. And then we shot again in the afternoon. We started about 4 o'clock, I think. Just before 4. So,
Yeah.
and then, we just sort of got the riders. There was, I think, about 10 of them, 8 to 10 by now. And then, they were just hitting a few different corners through the track. So they make posters. They're a sort of racing team, and they put these photos into posters to sell. I'm assuming that they sell them, Justin. Or
I
give
don't
them
think so,
away.
do they? I have
Or do
no
they just
idea
give them
what
away?
do.
They
Yeah,
definitely
I
put them
actually
into
don't know.
posters. So they
Yeah,
get printed. The
but-
race.
Yeah, they'll do like a riding shot and then overlay some graphics and overlay the rider standing there with their helmet off. They'll put that, maybe on the sort of the open. So most of the shots we shot
Sign them for fans.
Most of the shots we shot intentionally kind of rule of thirdsy, so that there's a blank space on the other side for them to overlay the rider's sort of photo with their helmet off over it, and then graphics across the top and bottom.
And that's still smoke in the background from the burn off as well.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Is this with the 14?
Yeah, that's the 14. I'm pretty sure that was at 14 as well. Yeah, it was at 14 mil. So this was at 425, and I was at 1600 ISO at f4.5 to get up to get a 1600th of a second to freeze it. So yeah,
that's amazing. Look at the way that the patterns are burnt. The sand is forming these patterns.
Yeah, because that's probably be the spacing of the tire knobs spraying up.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's such a cool shot, Jim.
Thanks. This will be back to the 105.
Yep. Okay.
So all primes, which is other than your wide. Yeah.
Which I treat like a prime.
Yeah.
And also portrait length, like that's a portrait length, 105 1.4.
Who's that guy down there?
Oh, now I've lost him.
You've gone in too far. Enhance.
I have.
Somewhere between 10% and
Jesus, look at that dexterity.
Yeah, photographer poses. We were getting into them.
Yeah.
My goodness.
If you hit fit to page, Greg, it should fit to the page, I reckon.
Yeah, good point.
There you go.
There we go.
Nice.
But yeah.
Thanks.
So that's
Jim.
Justin shooting with. Is that with
Is
the
that
OM
with the
three?
OM?
I can't tell you what camera that is because it'll ruin my game that we're about to play after this.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that looks fun.
We had to,
yeah,
we had to get the corner reshaped, so we sent someone through the buggy, and it was quite funny.
Yeah.
And then the sun was kind of popping in and out, and again now this shot's pretty. Yeah, it got good for like 5 minutes, and then it went away again. So this is now 5 o'clock. That one.
I had the coolest drone shot set up, and we had 8 of the 9 riders waiting there. There was one rider that hadn't come back, so I had the drone literally flying. The sun was setting. There was enough sun above the horizon to still light up the little bits of dirt that were spraying off the right. So like from the drone, you would see these like streaks of dirt as they're flying like this down a long straight. And the last rider, everyone was calling him over, but then Jim and one of the other guys spoke to that rider and said, "Come over here, we're going to do a photo on this jump." And they just left.
Oh.
I didn't know that Justin was doing something.
So instead of having the whole team in a drone shot at sunset riding down this long straight, I was like, "That's it, we're done."
Very cool.
And there's me being silly with prime lenses at a jump.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun.
All right. So now we're going to play a game.
All right.
The game is OM3 or R3, Canon or OM systems. This collection of photos, which we'll go through fairly quickly, has both. So it actually has an R5 Mark II in it too. So it's got shots from all 3 cameras. I can tell you that. It's got mostly edited RAW files, but it even has some JPEGs. And you guys get to pick which one's which. Jim, if you know what it is already because you were there when I shot it, you can't say anything.
Can I? No, can I vote? Because I actually don't remember. There'll only be a couple that I think.
Don't you cheat. And what's the other rule of the game? No cheating. Hang on, let me bring up my screen. The other rule of the game is all of them are black and white. So it makes it harder for you to figure out what it is.
All right.
No, well, I don't know.
All right. How should we do it? Should I just quickly... Do I tell you each one or do I not till the end?
Well, how are we going to know?
All right, I'll just tell you.
That's a Canon.
All right, so I'll have to put that thing on the side. Okay. Canon.
Canon.
It's the Canon.
Nah, Canon.
Why?
It just has that sharpness.
Okay.
That's a nice boot in that.
Canon.
Huh. Yeah, Canon.
It's
And
what lens
these
did you
are
have on the OM?
These are also in no particular order. I shot the OM with the 7 to 14 2.8, the 40 to 150 f4, the 25 1.8, which those are all. So it's essentially double those focal lengths.
Yeah. Okay.
Because of the sensor size, crop factor.
I think that's the Canon.
This one.
And that's not because I don't think I know I don't know when that was, but I think that's a Canon.
It actually is. This is actually a really good shot. It's very sharp. It's actually a great photo, if I do say so myself. All right. They are in no particular order of Canon or OM system, so I didn't actually look at that when I threw these into a thing. I'm not trying to trick you.
Right. I'm going to say OM3.
Jim?
I'm not going to say
you know
anything,
this.
I think I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Canon.
Yeah. But to be fair, I thought it was, and then I remembered when it was.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's OM.
Yeah, I feel like the rider was in the shot, but the OM was not as fast as your Canon. And so by the time it took the photo, he was out of frame.
It is the OM3.
You wouldn't say that, Greg, if it was a Fuji.
Of course not. Was that the case? Was it slow to focus, or was this on purpose?
This one was slow to focus. No, that's not why the rider isn't in this shot, but it was slow to focus with the lens that I was using for this shot. Yes. It struggled a bit.
I'm going to say OM3.
Yes, it is. Bonus points if you can guess what ISO it was shot at.
1600.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed too.
Incorrect. 12,800.
Oof.
It's actually not bad, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's noisy. Obviously, you can't see that through the magic of the internet very well, but that's zoomed
You
into
look
100%.
Look at the number plate on the front. You can see
The grain.
grain on the, yeah, there you can.
But I was because that's like 12,800. My R3 is fine, but I did not expect. I mean, it's not fine, but it's quite usable, and I did not expect that from an OM3 from Micro Four Thirds sensor. So I was pretty impressed with that. The tracking works surprisingly well. They've got a vehicles setting, and it was grabbing helmets.
Wow.
And focusing on them to the point where I was trying to take a photo of a face and it kept grabbing helmets in the background, and then I switched it back to people tracking, grab the face.
That's cool.
Change it to vehicle tracking, grab the helmets. It's very interesting. So that was working quite well.
Canon.
Why?
It just feels sharper. The contrast is heavier.
Canon.
Canon.
Jim?
Oh, I'm going to guess OM.
It is the OM.
OM.
Yeah, I don't know. Guess
the Canon.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Wouldn't have thought.
Yeah. See it in the eyes.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty.
That's it. For a minute, yeah, it looked a bit soft from back here, like from.
Well, through the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Thoughts?
OM?
Yeah, that's what I would think.
So hard to know, isn't it?
Canon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, that's a killer shot. That's amazing. You got to be happy with that.
Yeah. Black and white looks cool.
It does. They won't use it.
They won't use it. No.
No.
No, they don't want black and white.
So for the weekend, Justin shot most of it like he didn't have a brief. And I shot like I had a brief.
Jim did all the hard work.
Again.
So Justin got to be artistic and do, take photos in black and white.
We work well together.
Someone's got to pay the bills, Jim.
That's right.
Yeah.
Someone's actually got to make the clients happy. So,
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I'm going to say Canon.
Yeah, I would think so too.
It is. It is.
OM3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the background, the trees.
Too much depth of field.
Yeah, yeah. They're just they're kind of blurry but not gone.
And there's less definition in the blacks.
In this.
In any of the OM3 images. There's less detail in the dark bits.
Well, you know what's interesting for this particular shot? That was one of the few secret JPEGs that was in there. This is actually a JPEG straight out of camera. So.
Nice. Canon?
I know, so I won't say.
OM3.
Good shot. Great shot.
Yeah.
How's that looking color? That other one, that last one.
It actually looks really good in color.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually. I haven't edited it, but I had a quick look at it. Let's. I don't really have an OM3, appropriate thing that I can throw on it, but
yeah. The white on the inside is a good look.
But yeah.
But also more dangerous, as Justin almost found out. When a bike started coming towards him.
You got to risk it. So what about this one?
I'm going to say OM3.
Jim?
I can't tell if it's grainy or if it's
Canon,
dust.
There's definitely sand flicking
it's sand.
Yeah.
So
that's still loading. That's it there.
I thought Canon, but
I reckon OM3.
It is the OM3. You're wrong, Jim.
Happy to be wrong.
What about this one?
OM3.
Canon.
Fujifilm.
There was no secret Fujifilm in this game. This is my nephew.
Canon.
Yeah, tell they're the eyes. Gosh, that 50mm 1.4 is delightful.
Yep.
And half the weight of my 1.2. It's a bit of just to set the tone. It rained.
It did rain.
Did rain.
OM.
No one wants to play the game. I've punished you too much.
OM. That's a JPEG.
Ooh, you reckon?
Yep.
It is. Crushed blacks. I probably underexposed it a tiny bit. Can't save it in the edit.
Hey, I'm in that one.
Yeah, that's Jim. Back here, blurry Jim.
Where?
There.
You can't really tell because he's blurry.
Canon.
OM.
No, OM. Yeah.
I give up.
Well, I guess.
And that's a JPEG too.
No, not a JPEG.
No?
Is OM, and haven't actually checked. Oh, it's reasonably. So that was one of the few shots that I was able to get with the 25mm, so the 50mm equivalent, shooting at 1.8. It would track fairly well at a distance, but when because at 50mm equivalent at this kind of working distance, when they're coming kind of through the main part of the turn, the part of the turn I was working on, they're moving quick and the subject distance is closing in on the camera really fast, and that 25mm really struggled with that part of it. It would track at a bit of a distance, all right, and then once it got to here, it just the speed, it couldn't keep up with it. Whereas the other lenses, that f2.8 Pro, the 7-14, that seemed to track much faster. So obviously their primes aren't made for it, but I think I've just been spoiled with Canon that a lot of their primes I can put them on and shoot action. The Canon would have tracked this fine, that 51.4.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I like that shot. Canon or OM?
Your horizon's crooked.
Your horizon's crooked.
Your horizon is crooked.
It is. I don't care.
OM.
Yeah, you were there. That is the OM. But again, it's really...
It looks pretty good. Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, that's sharp. It's sharper than the previous one.
Plenty of detail.
Plenty of detail. So that's that Pro lens at 7mm. So that's at 12/50th of a second, f2.8 at ISO 800.
Yeah.
So, which is probably on the bottom limit of shutter speed that I would go, but I was worried. I wasn't sure how the ISO was going to handle things. And these were shots that I think they will use. When I was shooting this, I was trying to get usable shots. I wasn't just plopping around testing a camera. So I was trying to I always try and keep the ISO as low as possible, obviously. Come on, we're getting to the end now. You got to
Canon.
Surely your eyes dialed in.
OM.
This is the OM at 90mm effective focal length. 90mm actual. So that would be like a 180mm f4 at ISO 6400 on the OM.
Pushing the limits.
Yeah, surprisingly,
it's doing pretty well.
It's doing pretty good. That was
And
impressed.
is that full frame too?
No, I've cropped that a time. Oh, so I've had to crop all because they're 4/3. I cropped everything to 3:2 to match the Canon stuff, so that you guys couldn't just immediately tell. So I have cropped that a little bit, but I did his head. That was where his head was cropped.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, I was going in hard.
Mm-hmm.
You got to risk it.
Canon.
Moody.
I was there, so I know.
Oh, you know, Jim. Yeah, that's the OM. That's with the 50mm wide open. The 25mm 1.8, 50mm equivalent wide open. And yeah, when it loads, it's nice. It's sharp. It's good. It just doesn't have that, like Jim said, like obliterated background that you get on full frame when you shoot wide open. It is a significant difference. That is something I noticed.
It's crispy still.
It's crispy. It's great, but there's a very big difference at shooting at 1.8 on micro 4/3 than on full frame. It's a big jump.
The subject separation's not quite there, is it?
It's not the same. But I had a heap of fun shooting with it. And the autofocus was, other than I was surprised at how little I got with the 25mm at action stuff, because it seemed to be tracking quite well. The thing is, the screen on the back isn't amazing. The viewfinder's not amazing. So it was tricky to tell whether I was getting the shots. And I've been spoiled with, one of the best autofocusing systems on the planet in the R3.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, this little OM3 can do everything. And then I got some of them back on the computer. I was like, okay, can't do everything, but it did do far better than I thought. I think that's it. Anyway.
Cool.
The point of it was you didn't get everything right. And I know that is through the internet, but that little camera can hang. Like in higher ISO than I thought. It did pretty well. And
I was having like push mine.
Yeah.
Like I was pushing my camera at some of the points of the shoot when the light was disappearing and stuff. So
it was dark in some of the treed spots.
Yeah.
So Greg Carrick says it's a bit obvious that the Canon outperforms the OM3. Yes. But not by as much as I thought. I thought when I opened up that 12,800 ISO file, it was going to be ghastly, like completely unusable. And it's not. So I was surprised. Yeah, I was very surprised. Also, got more used to the ergonomics and more used to the menu systems and stuff. Still not my favorite ergonomics, but my finger figured out where to sit on the front of that camera where it doesn't hit that really sharply nailed knob as much. So that was good. Just got used to it. And yeah, otherwise it was cool. Nice. Paul Henderson got it right. The OM3 is pretty impressive. It is. It's pretty impressive considering how small it is. It's a retro inspired. Like I was shooting action with a retro styled micro 4/3 camera. And in that sequence there, you know.
And not just action, it's different to like it's very fast.
It's pretty fast. Yeah.
Like
and there's a lot of environmental stuff going on too. Like you got dust, dirt, smoke, fog, fire. You got so much going on. It's not just that the subject is moving quick. It's like everything around it is being impacted by that movement. So no, well done.
No, good job.
Yeah. It was a good test. I think it'll be a good addition to our overall OM3 review.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
We just did 5 segments in a show. Is that
we did it at 8, but it took 2 hours.
Yeah.
But we got through it. We got through our 1 hour show in 2 hours. That's pretty good.
Right. It is supposed to be the 1 hour show. So thanks everyone for sticking
It has never
with us.
been. It has never been the 1 hour show.
But we consistently had it at about an hour and a half for a while, you know, but now it's creeping up to the 2 hours if we want to get.
Well, there's lots more people in the chat. We've got people asking questions, people telling us where they are. And for those of you that are watching or listening along at home, that's what we love about the Camera Live podcast is that we can engage directly and live with you guys. We can answer your questions. We can follow threads and get sidetracked. We're more than happy to do that. So please make sure you jump in the chat, whether it be when you're watching us live or if later on you're watching one of our older episodes from our archive. Be sure to check them out. There's what are we up to now? 89 episodes now, including today. And feel free to add comments there too. We try to get through them, and we try to get back to people on the important stuff. But yeah, jump into the chat and say thanks, say hi, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, it helps us out a lot.
It is. It's definitely working. Whatever you guys are doing, it's working. The show's getting put in front of more people every week. We really appreciate it. It's great. It's super fun. So.
But on that note, I think we might wrap for the evening. It's we've just hit just over 2 hours. We've had a lot of viewers on tonight, and probably a lot of new viewers to the Camera Life podcast. So I just want to reiterate once again that please give this episode a like. It helps us out a lot. It helps YouTube identify that people are watching it and engaging with it, and it means that other people get to see it too. Subscribe to the Camera Life podcast. 2 shows. Monday evening, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It's our random photography show. You've just witnessed. Very random. And then every Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, we interview a photographer, Australian or from overseas. We're not racist. But we interview photographers and we learn all about their stories and how they got to where they are. So make sure you stick around for those as well. And while you're at it, little plug for luckystraps.com, makers of fine leather camera straps. So head to luckystraps.com, use code Greg in the checkout for a sweet little discount on any Lucky Strap branded product. That doesn't include the gloves, unfortunately. Apparently only special people get that discount.
But Bruce Hoyle says, remember everyone, use code Jim or use code Thanks Paul. Use code Thanks Paul It
John
won't be up
Glass.
for very long. So if you're listening to this, I don't know. I'm not going to say when. Just don't wait too long. Use thanks Paul, or one word. For a limited time, you will get 15% off gloves as well as camera straps, leather belts,
You know, 15%?
everything. Yeah, I put on 15%.
Whoa. Beef.
Paul Henderson says, thanks, guys. And thanks, Paul, for the glove discount. Mine are ordered.
Hey, well done.
And otherwise, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Robert Varner from somewhere near New York City. Thanks, Greg Stubbings for coming across from Facebook. Thanks, Nev Clark for
We had a lot of people on. We had some new people too.
Well, there were so many people. Thanks, Philip
good.
Johnson, the OG, the original.
Yeah.
Thanks. Who else haven't I thanked yet? Thanks.
We've had Nick Fletcher.
Nick Fletcher. Lucinda.
Ramak. Lucinda's been on.
Logan.
Hey, Collier.
RXA Photography. Everybody.
That's
anyway.
Richard.
We've
had
Richard.
Rick Nelson on 2 different accounts.
Yeah. Secret Rick Nelson. Anyway, thanks everybody, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah, Rodney Nicholson's joining us for a chat about his craft. We'll see you then. Night, everyone. Night, boys.
Good night, Greg.
Thank you.